Hello, guys, and welcome to PWIRD, and welcome to our Saturday evening show. So, as you know, guys, our host is going to be Samuel tonight, doing it for our company, and our topic is going to be on angels. So, any questions or anything that you're wanting to ask that Samuel's talking about, you can ask that after he has finished the content. I will put back up with him for that bit, and we'll answer any questions and talk a little bit to you guys before we end the stream. So enjoy the stream, and I will put it over to Samuel. Over to you, Samuel.
And thank you very much, Sherry. Well, tonight I'm going over the subject of angels, the hierarchy of angels, and maybe even some of their identities that they do have and everything. It's complicated, but it's not. In many ways, if you consider it magic, it's in the way of divination, of the heavens, of this and that and everything. But also the players that are of divination and certain things that go along with that. And so I guess I'll begin. There are various types of angels in this world. Basically a hierarchy. There's a huge hierarchy of them. They can have some amount of different looks to them. In most Abrahamic beliefs within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they have their functions and their responsibilities for what God wants and what they do for the people that answer to those beliefs. In a simple way, they are the elite servants of God. But as mentioned before, they have their own hierarchy or orders, in which it is going to be discussed after this. God in Christianity is considered to be the highest and most honored of all creators. God is that of truth and benevolence. All spheres bow to him for every reason, from love, respect, honor, and countless reasons that we may never know. These beings are the shining examples of perfection and what the higher thought of one's self being and what is of that being. The highest sphere of them all is the Seraphim, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm giving it a shot. Those who burn of the light and of the light and of life. They appeared to whenever they were being discussed, they appeared in the book of Isaiah. Some of them are thought to have, some of them thought to be of celestial, having about 6 wings. Sometimes they can carry out God's work or whatever they could in the responsible and righteous way. Often thought as being that of the divine, the messengers of God. In Revelations and the book of Enoch, they are with the Cherubim, who are considered to be the creatures of God. The Cherubim is the fullness and knowledge of wisdom of God. That thought of that as protecting the protectors of Eden. That they normally have 2 pairs of wings and 4 faces. The Cherubim. The first face is that of the lion. The second face is of the ox, of a human, and the last face is that of an eagle. They have straight legs, but their feet can be that of a bull or shining like brass. Other faces have the different physical idea of what a cherubim looks like. Many faiths, in theory, they have the cherubim are void of emotions. With the cherubim, I guess you can say closest thing we can compare them to is like that of the chimera. The chimera in legend was a multi-animal headed sort of being, but the cherubim were not, I guess you could say, like it says, they're void of human emotion, except for the chimera were about survival and to some extent monsters, but that's not the cherubim. Then comes the thrones. The seat of the exalted, exaltation. They're thought of to be the wheels of God's chariot, and thought of to be the ones that take the material shape when they come down from the heaven and come down to earth. and they also enforce the judgment of God. In many ways, if there is an order given, then the thrones are the ones who take care of that responsibility in their own way. And also, God's chariot is different in the way I see it. And this is just me personally. That's all I'm saying. Is that God's chariot is that, to some extent, that of a metaphor. The thrones, in the way I see it, are very much over the top. Are very much an over the top group of to carry out orders and this and that. And the Lord's chariot, that's a metaphor. And that's how I see it, of different people of different entities that do that sort of thing. And that's the first sphere. The middle sphere is a little bit different in the way is like the other spheres. It has three dominant groups, but the middle sphere is called the dominions. The dominions are that of justice. If something has gone wrong or badly wrong, they're the ones to take care of it in a righteous and just manner. They regulate duties of the angels. So if a dominion gives you an order, and if the dominion has an order that is supposed to be carried out, they give it to the person, they give it to the dominion, and they enforce that duty that was supposed to be handled. They also, sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. They also make known with the commandments of God. So, like I was saying earlier, if certain commandments, they're making sure that commandments are followed in the eyes of the Lord and everything. They're the ones who decide certain wars amongst men. Humanity decide humanity's wars and this and that. Many of them that are the middle sphere, the dominions, they've been known to ride red horses. It's hard to explain the horses, but it's sort of like a regular horse, but completely red, and something that goes from one place to the next. But I guess you can compare it to a Pegasus if you really want to. And they're considered to be the element of air. So in many ways, to some extent, they're the ones who can fly. They're the ones who can get from point A to point B very fast in various different ways. But they are grounded. But the red horses, to be honest, I don't necessarily know as much as I should have known about the red horses, but that's how it goes. The virtues of the middle sphere, they're of courage and fertility. They're filled with divine strength and extremely powerful. In certain ways, whenever it comes to a virtue of God, I guess you can call them a superhero of superheroes. And with the superhero of superheroes, in many ways, they're definitely elite, depending on what they're supposed to be doing. They send healing for every sickness, and also help foretell the future. So if you are praying and everything, and you're praying for someone to get healed, there is the possibility that if you're praying to God, he might send a virtue to help those of various sicknesses. They also help those with overburdening with labor. So if you're digging ditches, I'm not saying everybody does that, and there's nothing wrong with it if they do. Oftentimes, the virtues are there to, I guess you can say, give some relief towards those people who are working very hard at manual labor. There's also other things that they can do. If you have like a mental type job where it's like you have to use your brain so much of the time, whether you believe it or not, people do get overburdened whenever they're constantly thinking. Say like if they're working in a lab or something like that, whenever it comes to developing vaccines, that can wear somebody out mentally, and they're tired and this and that emotionally and everything. Oftentimes, in theory, the virtues come down and give the person some amount of relief and make it to where they're able to get back to work and get back to studying, whatever goes on. Another thing about virtues, they're also known to help those that are weak. And virtues, in that sort of way, I guess you can say, there's sort of people that protect the innocent, those people who are innocent of, or if they're older and they can't defend themselves or this or that. Oftentimes, depending on which of the three Abrahamic beliefs there are, he helps, the virtues help those who are in desperate need, people that can't defend themselves, people that are tired, exhausted, sick, or decrepit. The virtues are there for them in various different ways. And here comes the powers. Like I said, the third part of the middle sphere are the order and harmony. In other words, the order and the harmony are those that keep things flowing, that keep things in check. They're very strong, but they're the ones who are out there. They're the ones out there that are doing what they can to keep things in sync, keep things in going, and in many ways keep them alive. They can also restrain evil from doing various kinds of harm. So, like I said, if you're praying to one of the big God of the three Abrahamic beliefs, they restrain evil in various different ways. And in certain ways, well, like I was saying, from other of the spheres, they make it to where you can defend yourself after a while, because if you're sick, you're exhausted, or this or that, they can make it to where after a while you can defend yourself, and then you can take on, you live to fight another day because of them. And that's how it goes whenever it comes to the powers. And in various different ways, the middle sphere is that of middle management. But at the end of the day, they're ones that help out the common man in every sort of shape and function that you could think of. Then we have the lower spheres. They're the principalities, which is the starter of the lowers. They're the authority. They're often the ones who are seen carrying a scepter and a crown. They carry out orders from the higher spheres of the angels, and they're known to help people and others that are in need. Known for being educators and guardians of the earth realm. So, like I said, all angels, to some degree, they have their functions. And they have their functions in different ways, and they're the authority that you have to answer to. With the principalities, a lot of the angels answer to them, and they keep things going. They keep things working right. And sometimes they even get rid of, I guess you could say, corruption, if you want to call it that. They do what they can to make things right, and if you're not doing right, you're going to know, and you're going to know quick from the principalities. This next one, a lot of people know about, and these are the archangels. They're the ones who symbolize unity. They're believed to be 7, depending on which literary form you read. They're concerned with the issues that nations may have on the earth, from politics, military, and trade. So with the archangels, like I said, they're the ones who are they're hands-on whenever it comes to, the day-by-day problems that, I guess you can say, the government is having in that society. They're the ones who handle it. Like if you've got corruption in the politics, they're going to get rid of it in the best way they can. They don't want to use extreme measures, but they are not afraid to use extreme measures. And especially trade. Trade is very important for every society on Earth, because let's face it, if you don't have trade, you don't have much of an income. If you don't have much of an income, you can't help people. And many people, whether they're rich or poor or middle class, trade is important because no nation on this earth ever got rich by not having any kind of trade. And also, it's speculated they know the secrets of creations. Well, I mean, the archangels. The archangels are very wise, they're very tough, but at the end of the day, they're the secret keepers. And some secrets, let's be honest here, you don't want to know. And that's why there are secrets, because some people just aren't ready for them. Then we got the regular angels, the revelations and messengers. Lowest order of celestial angels, but they're most recognized. They're concerned with the matters of humanity, of course, and oftentimes they're considered personal guardians to human beings. So whenever people talk about angels, I think I'll put this. Whenever they talk about angels and guardian angels, that's what they're thinking of. So say like if you had a bad day and you're praying to God, oftentimes the guardian angels will be there for you, maybe to nurture you, guide you here, guide you there, maybe try to deter you from making a bad choice or a bad mistake on something, whether it's love or politics, your job, or even if it comes to defending yourself. To some degree, the guardian angels are there for you in that sort of way. Now, I went a little bit of a different sort of route, and I tried including certain angels with their groups. And there's an assortment of angels, as previously mentioned. This is the section that's being referred to them as the angels. To an extent, these angels have individual identities and individual functions. Many of them have been recorded in various space and in various parts of history that are written. Now let's get back to the first sphere, which is the Seraphim. Michael. His function in history was to combat the body of help Moses. He's considered to be an archangel, the Seraphim, and a general. He was the one who cast Lucifer out of heaven. And some people know this, some people don't. But I guess you could say Lucifer was God's favorite angel. And he was also called the morning star, if you know about that. But with the corruption that had happened, according to the three Abrahamic beliefs, he defied God and everything. And Michael took him out and cast him out of heaven. Gabriel, which is of the Seraphim, is considered to be another guardian angel of Israel, and was considered to be the strength of God in various other religions. And he's also considered to be the messenger foretelling the births of John the Baptist and Jesus. So, like I said, he is the one who foretold all this, giving people some amount of hope and relief, and to hold out as long as you can for that help to arrive. And so with that, those foretellings, because of because of Gabriel, we had that relief and we had that potential redemption that all of us have. Now we've got one that isn't too talked about, but he is there, Raphael. He's an archangel and the leader of the virtues and one of the Cherubim. In Christianity, he is considered to be that of a healer and an exorcist. And most of us know about the Exorcist, whether it's a movie or this or a show or this or that. Exorcism is real, and whenever it comes to exorcism, well, you can't really ask for too much better than Raphael. He was noted to have been bound and thrown out of Azrael's army into the Valley of Fire. In other words, he betrayed the darkness. An undercover cop, if you want to call it that sort of way. There we go. Here's the cherubim. And like I said, the cherubim, the cherubim is up the highest sphere, but he's in the middle of it. This one, some of these I have a lot of problems trying to pronounce. Lamusu or something like that. It is considered to be that of protection and that of female deities and constellations. In other words, to some degree, a softer, more nurturing sort of angel in that sort of way. So in many ways, if you have a bad day, Lamusu will be there to some degree for you. And then you got Rickabeam. He is one of the overseers of the divine chariot, and is one of the chiefs of the wheels of that chariot of gods. Then you have thrones, which is another one, which is the last one of the highest sphere. Pelea is virtuosity. In other words, if you're blessed, then Pelea is that of the virtue. In other words, you're righteous, you get up, you try to do the best you can. You get up every single day, you try to do the best you can, and you work at it, and you keep going. You're not there, and also, whenever it comes virtues, you're not selfish. You don't do the right thing because you might get a reward. You do it because you want to do it. Because if you say something bad or something about somebody and you own up to it, that's a virtue. And that is of something that is divine. In other words, forgiveness, being there for others, standing up for the little guy, those are virtues if you want to think about it that way. And Zevikel is an archangel, leader of the thrones. And also, Zevikel is considered to be that of God's knowledge. So say like if you are trying to get an idea of what to do that is of doing the right thing, Zevikel is that of the part of the angel that might be assigned to you of knowing God's knowledge. God's knowledge doesn't always come in that way of a book. It comes in the way of honor, understanding, and to some degree, empathy. And some people have empathy, some people don't. There's nothing wrong with not having it. But whenever you have God's knowledge of what somebody else is going through, I guess you can say that's part of God's knowledge. Understanding where somebody's going through, even if you haven't been through it, you can feel what the other person goes through. And being there for that person, there's nothing else you can count on, because if you're there for somebody, that's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to do things because you're expecting something in return. You do it because you want to. Then we got the middle sphere. The dominions, and you got Muriel, who is the ruler of the dominions, and is associated with the month of June. And the month of June, in many ways, depending on your point of view, is that of, I guess you could say June is that the month of marriage, love, honor, respect. In other words, and in certain ways, depending on which hemisphere you're in, the month of June can come up with, how can I put this? Life, love, honor, things like that. And that's what Muriel is associated with. The virtues are considered to be the angels of miracles. And miracles can happen at any given time. The reason why I say virtues, man can do virtues, and God and the angels and everybody, but you take like a mother who is a single parent. She may have made some mistakes in her past, but let's try it this way. She keeps her kids off the streets, out of trouble. She keeps food on the table. She helps her kids with their homework. And all 5 of those kids graduate high school, and they become productive citizens of society. That is a miracle in itself. And the virtues have a tendency to help that. And that mother, like I said, she's not asking anything in return. Maybe a Mother's Day card, maybe some flowers or something like that. But even then, she's not asking for much of anything. And that's a virtuous woman. And the virtues are oftentimes associated with women because the sacrifices that people like her or even a father can make in that sort of way. Then we have the powers, like I was telling you. Camille is the leader of the powers and is associated with strength, courage, and even more. If you've got a conflict in life and everything, strength doesn't always come with muscles and this and that. It comes with resolve. Strength comes with character. Strength can be associated with patience, understanding, time to make, when there is a time to make your move or not make your move. That is what strength is. It's inside of the person. It's what the person is of. And that's how it is whenever it comes to strength. And Camille is the one who, to some degree, gives that strength. And like I said, because of all that, that's how man can do miracles, is because the inspiration that many of these angels have given people on that issue. And that's some of the powers of that's some of the abilities of the powers. Then we got Cassiel, who is that of the angel of Saturn, tears. In other words, the release of pain. And Cassiel is that of solitude. And solitude, let's be honest here, there's times where you just want to be left alone. You want to enjoy your day. You want to, so like go to a public park where you can see people walking. You can see two people holding hands and kissing each other. And then you can see this and that. And you can see life itself. You can see life itself in a certain way that is of solitude, but you're observing things. And observation in many ways is part of solitude. And that's what Cassiel can do to some degree. Now, this one I cannot pronounce to save my life, but I'll give it a shot. Chezikiel is a watcher. A watcher normally is somebody who sees humanity or sees this or sees that, and is the one who watches things and gives a report to the higher ups that he or she has. So, in other words, to some degree, Chezikiel is a watcher and a scout, reporting to the higher ups of they report the foundings of the higher ups. Well, what man is doing to the higher ups. So we can sit there and debate it all day and all night, but someone's always watching. Someone's caring. Somebody's always watching, and that is the middle spheres. Here's the lower spheres. The principalities. Netzek is associated with eternity. Our view on eternity is pale. We have no clue about eternity. Whenever you're young, you think a month will never stop. You think that, like if you're a small child, you're waiting for Christmas. Whenever you're waiting for Christmas and everything, and it's like November 17th, Christmas is taking forever to get there. It's slow and this and that. And to some degree, it depends on your perception, but that is sort of like an eternity for a small child. For an adult can be that of getting married or something like that. If you've been married for quite a few years and you keep going, you're still married, that's a blessing. But it is it can feel like an eternity that you have been married for. And that's how it goes. Then I couldn't find much on some of these other angels, Vehuel, Poel, and which are two of the principalities I couldn't really work with. The Archangel Raphael is associated with justice. And Raphael is a good friend of God. God isn't all about being a father. It's about, I guess you could say, being of God. Well, a friend is being somebody you can talk to, somebody you can relate with. Some people you want to go out and have a cigarette with or have a beer with, talk about your day. And both people, I guess you can say, have a mutual understanding, and they work with people and they cooperate. And that's what Regil is. And he also watches the behavior of the other angels, of all of them. And God's best buddy, like I said, he's God's best buddy. And to some degree, he's been known to be impartial on the issue of God, because he wants it to where God has a realistic approach. What he wants to show is that God has a real approach, and this angel carries it out. God didn't have just kids, didn't have robots. God gave free will because God wanted people to go to him willingly, not because they're forced. He didn't want robots. He wanted people to go to him willingly on that issue, if you believe in the big three Abrahamic religions. Then we have Ramiel. He is a watcher also. He oversees the visions and the souls of the day of judgment. So one day, Judgment Day will happen according to at least Christianity. We're judged by our sins, by our virtues. We are judged by our strengths. We're judged by our weaknesses. And in certain ways, Ramiel does that. Ramiel looks at things that humanity has. And like I said, he may be an archangel, but he's still an angel. And he reports all of this and takes notice. And also, whenever it's at the end of your life, to some degree, it's his information that decides if you go to heaven. Then you have Phanuel, who is an angel of repentance and hope. Hope is something that is real. Some people lose hope, some people don't. But at the end of the day, it's our actions that say hope. Whenever hope goes down, like whenever it comes to hope and repentance, I guess you could say we looked at Phanuel in the way that to not stop, to be there, to know this, to know that. And the repentance and hope, if you've done something wrong, it's basically your repentance is something that you're looking for in the way of repentance. If you did something wrong and you screwed up and you're screwed up royally, recognize what you did and apologize for it. But true repentance isn't necessarily expecting to be forgiven, actually meaning that you're sorry. And what else I'm also saying is that whenever it comes repentance, to never expect forgiveness. If you screw up, own up to it. And true repentance is not expecting forgiveness. And that's where repentance is oftentimes stronger than accepting forgiveness. And that's how I see it on that issue. Let me try this one, the pronunciation, Prevail. That is God's scribe and God's record keeper. I guess to some degree, he's a data entry person, if you want to call it that nowadays. He takes a look, brings up this fact, brings up that fact, huge memory and everything, and just can go through things, look at things, and is a master at keeping the record. So whenever Judgment Day happens, you're going to be, to some degree, he's going to have his view on you. He's going to have that view on you of what you did right and what you did wrong. And that's where Phanuel comes in, and Ramiel, and so many others. And that's how it goes whenever it comes to the archangels. Angels, which is a little bit of a different, and this one's a little different. is referred to as the dogs of heaven when they are that possess humans. The reason why I say that is because sometimes we need a push. Sometimes we need a push to push us and shove us to doing the right thing. Because if we screw up a lot, it's the angels that get us to become something different, to become something more substantial. And they're called the dogs of heaven because they do the majority of the work. But their loyalty is unquestionable. And their loyalty is something that anyone should respect and cherish on that issue. And they're oftentimes called the foot soldiers of the higher levels. Because if you ever notice in war, oftentimes the lower ranks of war, they're sent in first. And if they survive certain battles and this and that, and they survive certain battles, then they get a little bit of a higher rank every so often. And the foot soldiers of God, they're very strong, very powerful, and some of them have their own unique way of doing things and this and that, but they're a force to be reckoned with. And at the end of the day, it's not just the higher ups, it's all of them that are there for the fight, whether it's fighting for humanity or even fighting for themselves or keeping things from going to hell. It's because the angels. Angels are considered to be some of the most glorious entities that have ever been created by the three Abrahamic beliefs. When times of trouble happen, they are for God and for humanity. They fight alongside of people and are quite known to give hope and dedication when people think that all hope and dedication has been lost. With all this, and like anything else, angels are quite organized, if not extremely organized. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's on paper, it's of the will that they have. And with all this, they are considered organized and extremely organized. They are shared duties, but also different duties that are towards those that are worthy and may not be so worthy of God's love and generosity. The thing is, with the angels, they're masters of forgiveness and moving on. With all this, and the organization of the ranks differ from angel to angel, but it is still there on the spheres. But within those spheres, there comes quite a few times that the names of the angels of themselves, they name themselves. They rarely, if ever, back down to do what they feel is good of what God wants and what they feel the various needs of humanity can be. So let me ask this. Does anybody have any big time questions? Anyone that want to ask me something? Well, I'll keep going, I guess. Well, on the issue of angels, there's been really nothing else like them. There's nothing else like them. They're the ones who get the job done. And in certain ways, depending on your point of view, they're those who do what they can to protect. They do what they can to be there on God's side through thick and thin. And like I said, whenever all hell breaks loose, you have them and you have them on your side. And they will be there for you. They will be there for you. Even to some extent, even if you don't consider yourself worthy, the angels can be there. And whether it's the seraphim or the foot soldiers of God, they're there. And they're definitely there for one another. They're order, harmony, good times, bad times, in certain relevant ways with angels. You could say that they're the guys who are next door and if you've had a bad day, go over next door, they'll crack open a beer and you tell what's going on with you, they tell what's going on with them, and someone to talk to, someone to be there with you and everything. And for God, they're the elite of the elite. And if you have a problem, like I said, they're there for you. So, any more questions by chance? Am I missing out on anything? Well, like I said, I try like anything to get more of the names of the angels, and some of the names were very hard for me to come up with. And like I was saying, there's different parts of them, different spheres, and within those spheres they have different orders. And there's basically 9 orders that have the majority of the gods. And so that's how it is. So I'm looking for questions. Does anybody have anything? Well, angels don't normally die. Angels don't really die. Angels in so many ways are that of doing what's right. And doing what's right and doing what they feel is the best. They do what they feel, and they don't care about being acknowledged. They do the best they can with what they have. And like I said, there are inspirations for angels. I was going into something I was talking about where humanity can make miracles. Like I was telling you have a single mom who made some mistakes when she was younger, had 5 kids, but she put them all through. She got them all to graduate high school. They all got jobs. They've never been in jail for anything. That's a miracle. If you have a person that is, but if you have a person, so to speak, that is trying to stay off drugs and trying to stay out of trouble, that is a miracle in itself, who is trying to do the right thing and not stay in that rut of that self-pity and that anger and everything.
There is a question in the room. Somebody was saying about the levels of the angels and stuff. There are 9 levels of angels. You have got the Supreme, you've got the Cherubim, you've got the thrones, you've got the dominance, you've got the virtues, you've got the powers, you've got the principalities, you've got the archangels, and you have got the angels.
And you nailed it. You nailed it better than me.
And I have also got books that are detailed. So this one is a teaching book about angels, what they are, what they're meant to do, all of that sort of stuff. Then this one is a complete dictionary on all of the angels of the world that you know spiritually and through religions. But obviously you have angels that can come to you that are for other different reasons as well, which some of them could be named different and things. But your main angels are in this book. So all of these angels that you're talking about, Samuel, are in these books with more detail on what they actually are. So if you guys want to hear at the end, I can maybe read a few bits out from one of the books. You might want to know the history about angels and how they come to light and how they become. This book will tell you.
And Sherry's the one to go through on that. I mean, I pale in comparison compared to her. And I know if you're
doing this is why I like you doing the shows, because you give the basic details that makes people want more of it, and then I can kind of carry on a show another time and do it in more detail the way they want it, but we can talk at the end. So I'm going to go back to Sam. You'll let him carry on, but if you want us to read a few bits out to you after, I will.
That's why you're the boss lady. Like I said, I know a few things, but nothing compared to what you know about the angels, and you're a white witch for a reason. But like I said, You are a master. What do you expect? I'm humbled. I like
And
this.
I've learned a lot of things from these books. I don't go out for these sort of books that are really silly and come
Mhm.
from silly places. These are actually like proper
Yeah.
spiritual books. They're really good. And, you know, some of them, this one was handed to me by somebody because they know how good I am. They know that I was
Mhm.
really into my angels. So I was gave this one. So this is very special. But back to Samuel.
Well, like I was saying, humanity can do a lot of good for humanity, but it's oftentimes inspiration that comes from the heavens that give us that sort of thing. Give us that concept of what goes on whenever it comes to angels. Angels can, if you're having a bad day and you need some energy, but you're wiped out physically, oftentimes it's the angels that can pick you up and get you going and keep you going far and beyond what you have. Um, and they can keep you going from what you have. There's been people that literally there's been cases documented where say like a bus is say like somebody's riding a school bus, not a school bus, but a public bus, say like in Florida. And all I do is I read this. I don't know this 100% for sure, but all of a sudden, this guy is seeing a brilliant, a horrible, hardcore light, and this bus was out of control on a freeway, and not a freeway, but a public road, and something happened to the driver. All of a sudden, this blind guy just it blares out this immense light, and he pulls the driver out of the way. And keep in mind, the guy is blind. He stomps on the brake and saves about 17 people's lives on that bus. And this happens all across the US every single day, where people that you would never expect to be able to handle themselves in a crisis such as that. And it's like I said, it happens all the time where you would never expect something like that to happen, but it does. So whenever somebody talks about angels in certain ways, we should all give them some credit. We're all supposed to give them some credit and everything. And whenever you're good to God and you're good to angels, well, you get that threefolds in return, depending on what your beliefs are, from the rule of three in Wicca to karma, even the golden rule. And that's how it goes whenever it comes to angels in that sort of way. So is anybody else talking about anything? Um, Go ahead, sure.
Please excuse me if I keep coming up and down. It's just that if there's any messages or anything, I will read them out to you, Samuel. Then you can
Thank
answer.
you.
So it helps if I keep coming up instead of trying to go through everything. I'm just trying to go through the chat.
Let me come right back. I'll
I
be
know that
right.
Thinking said something about Samuel. Is the war our enemies had angels? Would you say they are bad angels?
Yeah, are they referring to Heaven's War?
Are you on
Is
about Heaven's War thinking, or are you on about here on Earth? For anyone that, if you're getting a bad angel, then a bad angel is normally classed to being either a demonic or something. Because if you think about it, demons and stuff like that are classed as fallen angels. Satan
mm,
was a an angel of high power that was under God and loved God and worked with God, and he betrayed him and was cast out of heaven, okay, and become the king of hell. So all that come from heaven and get dropped into hell for doing bad things become fallen angels. They're once angels that have now become of the dark side. That's why demons are known as dark angels. Obviously, not all demonic spirits are fallen angels, angels that were in heaven. Some energies of demonic spirits can come through people that have been bad and they've changed and they've taken a different image in the other world, and you've got other multiple reasons to why there are demonic spirits through magic and all that sort of stuff. But the simple fact is some of the demons we see today are in fact of fallen angels. They are people or beings that were once of God and done God's way, but betrayed. They become that way.
Yes.
So they are known. Demons are known as fallen angels if you look at it up properly.
Well, and added on to it, the Heavens War, where Lucifer took on God and everything. Lucifer had several different followers.
Yeah,
and everything.
thinking is saying that he means like the wars here, like now.
Oh, okay.
The ones right here. Is there negative angels that were within that war?
I have a theory on this. This is just a theory.
Okay, let me come back off so you can talk a little bit more so they can see your face, because it's not good me keep. Okay.
Well, the thing is, I have a theory on this, and this is just me. I call things the war of influence. Because right now there is a spiritual war on, at least in theory, like I said, but a spiritual war where it's two sides and everything. Sort of like if people know about American football, you have two sides, the NFC and the AFC. But in heaven, in the war on earth, you have Satan's angels and players and this and that, and God's players and all this other stuff. But those two sides have their own factions in that sort of thing. It's sort of like you got the Browns the Browns want to make it to the Super Bowl or the grand fight, but they have to take on different factions of that fight. So and this is theory, like I said, they have those teams in those factions, and they want control. They want people to back them up in that sort of way. And it's not just God's people, it's also the devil's sort of people too. And so they're trying to recruit people through free will. And this is adding on to it. This is definitely adding on to it. You have, God, what was it? You have those teams are fighting. And so they're trying, and what I mean by the war of influence is that if you ever see those cartoons where you got a devil here and you've got an angel here, and one's whispering something to you and the other one is whispering something to you. But at the end of the day, whenever they're both whispering to you, it's your decision to make this action. Sort of like you take a preacher and he is saved a lot of people and got them to heaven and all this other stuff. With him getting all these people into heaven and all this other stuff, he feels something and he sees the tithe or the collection plate, whatever you want to call it, and he makes the decision because something is telling him, well, it's your money too. So he takes his hand and puts it in the collection plate and takes some of the money. Now, on the other hand, the good part of him is saying, no, this is wrong. This is meant to be for this, this, and this. And then the devil says, well, it's your money too. So he takes some of it and everything. After a while, he gets caught for embezzlement and all this other stuff, taking righteous dollar bills and everything and becoming greedy. But the thing was, what it was in certain ways was he was being influenced by both the sides of good and the sides of evil. And he makes a decision on his own conscious part to reject things, reject his principles, and he steals money from the church. Then you have another side. Take like a man who is a homeless person, but he's on the run from the law, and he's done a lot of horrible things in his life. He sees a building on fire. He's getting ready to pass it by, and then at the top of the building, he sees two children screaming for help. There's no fire truck, no nothing. This is a bad blaze. And he throws his stuff on the ground and he bursts into the building, climbing the stairs, getting all the way to the top. And he pulls the children out of safety, and here comes the fire squad and all this other stuff. He could have said, forget the kids, save yourself, you don't need to be in trouble, or decided good got to him, and he decided, hey, those kids need help. I mean, what do I have to lose? I will help those kids. In other words, he was influenced by the darkness and the light, but he chose the light and everything. And that's why I call it the war of influence. But what I'm getting at is the reason why there is the war of influence, and like I said, this is theory, is that they're trying, and if you compare it to an American football game, they're trying to recruit people through these actions, through free will, to get them to come to their side. So you have all these people, they have all these people that they're recruiting left and right and this and that, and to have their big squabble. You take the planet, take this plane of existence, which is the football field, and then the real prize of the biggest prize of them is the souls that go along with it. Some of them are saved, some of them are not. But with those two sides having those players, the souls are the money. The majority of the souls are the money and this and that. And there you go. You have your fight of fights. And there are those that do referee it, that are impartial to both the light and impartial towards those of the dark. Those are the referees who judge the game on things that are being played fair or not fair. But the thing is, they're amassing their sides. So once they have amassed their sides, that's whenever, and they're doing this by influence. Now, once both teams are complete on the factions and the actual team, and this is my theory, is that that's whenever the Grand Spirit War will happen. Because they're recruiting people right now. So at the end of the day, this is the 21st century. This is where it happens. This is where everything happens. So it's up to the individual. Are you going to be selfish, or are you going to do the right thing? And so with the angels, they're on, like I said, they're on the side of the light. And so we can sit there and we can debate it all day. But that's my theory. There's no real way I can prove it. There's no way it can be not proven. But it's the best way I can explain my thoughts and my opinion on the light and what isn't the light. So that's what I think. So
Another
anybody?
question, Samuel. Nada put, I agree, one of the 7 deadly sins, or are 7 deadly sins truth? Do they exist like the movies? What are the deadly sins, Samuel? Do you know?
Okay. First, I might get this right, or I'm not 100%, but you got pride, you got envy, you got gluttony, sloth, wrath, lust, envy. There's 7. Wrath, greed, envy, gluttony, pride, envy, and lust. The thing is that the reason why those are the 7 deadly sins, and this is the way I see it, is that the reason why they have become sin is because whenever they're carried to extremes, bad stuff happens for that individual. I say, like on the sin of gluttony, if you eat to keep yourself alive, and you keep yourself alive, and you do what's right, and you don't overdo it, and you pick your calories, watch your food intake, you are less likely to develop hypertension. You're less likely to develop diabetes, part 1 and part 2. You have the ability to be more physically. If you're exercising, that goes against gluttony. You're more likely to be healthier in various different ways. But if you perform the sin of gluttony on a regular basis, you get fat and you have all those health problems. Then you've got pride, where you think that you are better and much better than anyone or anything else. And you think that, and you have no sense of humility. People can't stand that. People cannot stand someone that thinks they're better in anything and everything else than humanity. Then you get envy, where you want something what another person has, or you cherish, you have to have it, what the other person has. That leads to bad stuff. Lust, if you perform the sin of lust on a regular basis, in other words, if you're having sex with anyone and everyone, there's the chance you can get an STI, which means sexually transmitted infection. You can get hurt. You can get sore. What if you have a jealous husband or something like? If you've got a wife, or a man, let's say a man, if a man is out there being intimate with all these women, there's the chance he could get infected with a nasty STD or STI. Then you've got, envy is that of wanting what someone else has all the time. And that's a bad thing because you can't really do much of anything yourself. Then you've got, what else is there? Then you got wrath. Wrath, you're always angry. You're always mad. It can lead to horrible health problems. It can lead, I've got one of my old apartment managers, he died because he was so quick to be angry. He was a good guy, but all the anger that he had, it led to a massive heart attack, and he died. He was a damn good guy, but his anger would always get the best of him. And gluttony, which is obvious. Then you have lust, gluttony. Then you have pride. Then you have greed, where you have to have everything. Everything is yours. Nothing else is anybody's. Everything is of yours. Then you've got envy, pride, and you've got a lot of others. And these other sins, like I said, whenever you have all these sins that you are going to extremes on all the time, leads to health problems, damage, everything goes wrong, and it can kill you at some point because you have no real self-control. You're always doing anything you want on a whim. And like I said, performing the 7 deadly sins on a day-by-day basis, it kills people. So it makes perfect sense as to why it is that way.
Swear like that. Yeah, the 7 deadly sin. You've got your lust. Lust is a strong passion of longing, especially for sexual desires. You've got gluttony. Gluttony is an excessive and ongoing eating of food or drink. Greed is an excessive pursuit of marital goods. Sloth is an excessive laziness of failure to act and utilize one's talents. You've got wrath. Wrath is a strong anger and hate towards another person. You have got envy. Envy is the intense desire to have the item that someone else possesses. And number 7 is pride. Pride is the excessive view of oneself without regard for others.
You got me on that one. I forgot about sloth. And like I said,
and I did write them in the room as well, so you guys have got all of them.
Once again, you did a lot better than me. I like that. Well, like I said, if you take a look at it, the 7 deadly sins have been considered a sin because it hurts people and this and that. And when you're arrogant, I consider that when you're arrogant and you think that you're better than those, that's pride and all these others. And that's why they're a sin, because whenever it is in constant excess, it's never good. It is never good. And that's why, I mean, like I said, the Bible makes sense on that issue. Bible makes perfect sense on that issue because, well, I mean, for God's sakes, if you go out if you go to eat 7 days a week to fast food places, you're not going to be doing too well. You're not going to be doing too well. Sloth, and sure, he did perfectly with that, where you just do nothing but sleep and this and that, constant laziness, doing nothing, no work. In other words, with the seven deadly sins, in a general way, it destroys balance. It destroys balance in everything that you can honestly think of. And so that was a great question.
Yeah, and that is it's the main factor of life as well. There are a lot of this in everyday life and in everybody. So we all face these sins at some point in our life and have maybe done one to an extent, not realizing we do it. That's why we have this way of life that if we do not learn through the life we have now, we come back again to learn again, because we do need to learn to not be these things. We do not need to lust after somebody else. We do not need to do evil to other people. We don't need to do these things. This is not how God wanted us to be. But because of the treason and the problems and the things that happened without Adam and Eve, this all come to light. This is how sin came. So have we got the power to be on God's side, or or are we in the power of the devil? That is what our job is here on earth. We follow one way or another. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in God or you don't have a religion. The simple fact is you can still be a good person and do good things for people, which means you will still go to heaven and you will still be loved by God, no matter what. Okay. We all
Yeah.
have that way in life where we can choose which path we're going to take. We're either going to be with God and be good, or we're going to be with the devil. That is just how it is.
Yeah.
And these things are put here to test. These things are to test our love for God, or to test how weak we are, and that we're with the devil, is what people say. But it's not being weak. Everybody has problems and has life and things that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that if you do one of these sins, it means you'll go into the devil. It doesn't. It's if you do that in a very evil and a very bad way, and you continuously do it, and you don't, and you mean it, then you will. But if you do it innocently, God will forgive you and learn you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference. Are you going to be evil, or are you going to be good?
Yeah.
That is the factor of life.
And that's how it is. And you summarize that nicely. Like I said, what I believe is that being excessive in this and that and everything, it does no good, and throws people off, gives them diseases, gets them lazy, gets them hypertension, morbid obesity, health problems. You can have family problems. You can start significant. You can have significant with your significant other. You can have problems with that. And that's why they're considered a sin, is because
You
if you
say that, Nada. You say like I know you say about the devil and like sod the devil and things, but the factor of life is we all follow traits of the devil. Okay, not meaning to, but we do things every day in life that are not right. It may not be evil that God's going to strike us down or do anything like that, but we do every day do some sort of sin that is put upon by the devil and by God. It's done by both. God puts it there to test us on how loyal we are to him. The devil puts it there to bring us away from God. Okay, so we do use those sins. It's how you use it. If you do it to an evil extent and you don't have any justice or giving to what you've done, you'll go to the devil. Okay, but if you're somebody that's done it innocently, through maybe just being angry or being upset, or it was just something a desire. Okay, it's not good to go after somebody's husband and wife, whatever. It's not. But sometimes there are situations that make you do that. There, you will still be looked upon. You will still be put right for doing that, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go to hell. The only way you'll go to hell is if it's something you enjoy doing, it's something that you wanted to do, and it's something that you continue to do. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's be a fact on life, we all make mistakes. We're not going to get struck down for every mistake we make. It's here to make us stronger. It's here to make us see the true value of life. Either way.
And that's one of the reasons why I believe that there's the war of influence, is because that sort of thing where both sides are persuading somebody to commit a certain action. And the more players you have, the stronger both sides have. So like I said, whenever it comes to American football, you have the AFC and the NFC, and that's how they're recruiting people left and right. And the more people they recruit, the better their chances of winning the grand spiritual war whenever it hits this plane of existence. And but like I said, it all starts out in a general way of choices that you might make. And this relating back to angels. Angels are the ones who are trying to persuade people into not making bad choices, not doing this, not doing that, in the way of keeping people. Angels will do what they can to keep people disciplined and this and that. And it doesn't mean like corporal punishment. It's like a persuasion. Like, so like if somebody had a bad day and you see a woman crying and you give her a rose, like in a public park after she's had a bad day, she's going to appreciate that. It's simple things that we can do. It's also complex things we can do.
Like I said, we're going to make sin. We're going to do sins. But if you can make a right with a wrong that you've done, then you're going to be okay. Okay? Everybody innocently does things. Mm-hmm. There are things that we give into, Maggie and Cindy and that. There are sins that we give into every day of our life because it's difficult. But there are other things that you can do in replacement to show your gratitude and that you're sorry. Okay, yeah. You can still show that you're a good person even though you do make mistakes. We're only human. Okay, we're all going to do that. It's not something that you've got to sit there and go, oh my God, I've just done something to do with envy, I'm going to get struck down. No, you're not. Because you're always doing, if you're a good person, you're going to be doing other good things to show and to give that way to God and to show that you're not that person. You know what I mean? So yes. God understands. God's God, yeah, okay, but God's made mistakes. God's probably done things he didn't appreciate and like. I'm not being funny. He once was meant to walk on earth and be human, even though he had a spiritual side to him, okay? He's no different to us. The only difference is he's a higher power. He's in heaven. He's in charge of the whole world, okay? Yeah, so he is a high guy. Of course he is. But he would have made mistakes as well, and he did when he made us. He didn't make us as a mistake, but there was mistakes made, which is why Adam and Eve done what they done, why they were captured away. There's wrong in everything. Okay, God is pure, yes, but God made us in His vision at that time. Okay, so you just have to go with that and remember that even if you do a sin, there are so many other things that you can make up for. Okay, so
yeah, definitely, definitely. But like I said, I mean, that's the way the war of influence is how I see it. But that's why angels are the divine, is because they know certain ways of being good to people and bad to people and this and that. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who are trying to persuade you to get in Christianity and the big three Abrahamic religions, is that they're trying to get you to realize that there is a nice, softer, and better way of having a certain existence in the way of being something at peace. And that's how it goes. And so at the end of the day, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's your choice to do certain things and to not do certain things that are of divine, and those are the infernal. But like I said, it's your choice. The hierarchy of angels, but like I said, to me, this is individual, but to me, there are reasons for those three spheres that are happening. Because the reason why I say that is because those spheres are getting ready for various, at least in my opinion, they're getting ready for that war to happen in this plane of existence. And this plane of existence, and in these times, this is whenever it starts. This is whenever it happens. This is the 21st century. Technology is at an all-time high throughout is at the highest of our existence. We know millions of ways to help people with disease, and we know billions of ways to take people out in this world. But the thing is, with all that, but like I said, with all that, we need to find a better way with this technology and this and that. And that's why we have the angels that, in many ways, that strike inspiration. They strike us with courage, inspiration, being virtuous, having certain, even those of us who call things having a code. Like, there are certain things, like with me, I have a certain amount of code to myself in the way that I am somebody. If somebody specifically tells me not to say something, I don't. If they literally say that, then I can't. I have to shut my mouth no matter what the consequences are. That's part of my code. And if it does not work well for me, then that's how it is. But I have to follow that. And that's where angels are similar in that sort of way. They follow a code of ethics, very big ethics. And their first obligation, the way they see it, is that of helping God, humanity, and everything in between, protecting the planet, the solar system, space, time. And that's how I see it with the angels, are trying to make things right. They do things to keep things, let me say it, they keep things right. And that's where the angels are in their highest function at.
Yeah, they're God's messengers. They're God's helpers. They're here for God's purpose, to look after his children, his people. You know, and they'll even guide you when you do wrong. When you do make a mistake or something, you've only got to call to them and pray to them, and they'll come in your aid. That's what they're here. They're here to cleanse you as well. They're here to learn you about mistake as well. You know, that is how you're made as a person. You have to make mistakes to learn, and they know that. But they can be the ones that you should listen to, and you know, take the advice and the signs that they give you, because if anything, they know what's good for us, because they are of God, and so are we. Okay, and they are the most trusted in God. God trusts them, which is why they are what they are. So, you know, angels are very, very important in your life, very much so, every day.
And then you've got, let me see if I can find him again. Where is he? I'm just trying to find that. I'm trying to find that gentleman angel. Raphael, the Archangel, Raphael. He's a friend of God and everything. And God can have certain obligations and this and that. And so here's the thing. If somebody makes a mistake, why not ask their friend for help? Why not ask their friend for help, or whatever they choose to do? I mean, asking for help or guidance to make the grandfather of all fathers, making the grandfather of all fathers in your favor. And sometimes you just got to ask his friend for some help and being there for him in the best way you can. And so we could sit there, we could take a look at things, but the thing is that we need to have a better way of doing things. And that's part of why angels are so high up. All the angels are so high up because they know a good way of doing this and doing that and everything, making things better. I mean, hell, and they're in heaven for a reason. They have such high rank for various different reasons, because oftentimes they know their stuff inside and out.
Yeah, and see, like in the book that I've got, it's got all of their names, it's got all of the angels you could think of, and it has all the concept of what they are, why they are, what they are. It even has the religions that they're actually based to as well.
Mhm.
So, but even though some of them are based to certain religions, you can still call upon them for certain factors. They're not just there for that particular religion; they are there for every human being here. If you need them,
Mhm.
So this book that I've got here has got lots of information on them. It's got like a page where it just says what they are and stuff like that. So, if there are any angels that you specifically want to know about at the end of the stream, I could maybe read them little factor bits out to you so you can understand a bit more.
That sounds amazing. Actually, I would love to hear some more of those. Like I said, I mean, some people, I'll just focus in on myself barely, but certain people like me, I call myself gray for various different reasons. I won't go too much into it. But the thing is knowing things that go along with things and ask for help and this and that. That's what angels are about, helping humanity, helping make humanity, the earth, planet, and everything, asking them for help, guidance, and this and that. And I see nothing wrong with that. Never have. I mean, I may be of a darker persuasion, but for the most part, I respect that. And that's why we all need help in that sort of way. And that's what angels do. It's just how they are, and it's in their nature. So, but yeah, that's how it goes, and that's how it goes. And with angels, that's how it is. But like I said but like I said originally, like I was saying, the angels have their functions and everything, and that's why Sherry's the big boss lady, is because she knows her stuff inside and out, especially of the light. And so people like her I go to if I have questions and this and that. And that's why I stick with this. That's why I stick with the company, because it's people that open my mind up. It's people that open my mind up. I know what I am. I know what I am, and I have no apologies for that. But sometimes you just need a different opinion, and this company gives that. And
We respect every opinion as well, you know.
yes, you
You
obvious.
know,
You're obvious of that.
and just because some people work with a darker energy, it doesn't make them bad
Mhm.
people at all. Okay,
Yeah.
you can use the energies in different ways. Like, but we all phrase ourselves as white witches, black witches, or grey witches. But the truth is we're not a color. That's not important. We're all witches. We're all spirit. We're either witches or we're spiritual. We've got a belief. That is what we are.
Mhm.
In any religion, any way, we use both energies in some way, shape, or form. You can't use
Mhm.
one balance of energy and not use the other. You can't use the
Of
light
course.
and not have the darkness. You can't use the darkness and not have the light. It's balanced. It's there.
That's
It's
why.
part of the world. It's part of us.
Yeah, that's why I call
So
myself. Yeah, that's why I call myself gray and everything, because
yeah,
I do
we just
everything
say
for
them
balance.
them names
No,
because
I
it's
get.
easier
Yeah,
to balance us out so people
of
understand what
course.
we are. But if somebody went up to you and goes, "I'm a white witch," like in the olden days, they'd go, "Well, what's a white witch and what's a black witch? You're either just a witch or you're not." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
that's
you get what I'm saying?
yeah, and that's the thing with a lot of
Yeah.
people back in the medieval days and the Renaissance days. You would have been killed just for saying that. Yeah, for killed. But today's world's a lot different back in those days in the way that it is more accepting. It's a lot, whether you accept it or you just tolerate it, either way, people aren't going to hurt you just because of that through most of the world. And that's one of the reasons why I give huge amount of credit towards white witches, because they're the ones who started off the open and honest conversation about that sort of thing. Now, me on the other hand, I call myself a Dharmapala. Dharmapalas are people that are protectors who have a ridiculous amount of sometimes being overbearing, helping others, and this and that. But there's more to it than just that, and I'll do another broadcast at some point
Maybe
whenever
you
it comes
should
to that.
like explaining about your faith and what it is, because some people might not know what that is,
Mhm.
and they'd
Well,
find that interesting, I think.
yeah. Well, with me, Well, I guess if you go to Asia, and I'll try and explain it. In Hinduism, there are protectors. It's more like an army of protected people and everything. And they are very strong, very powerful and everything. And in Hinduism, they're called Lokapalas because in many ways, they're the ultimate in being there for people, helping people, protecting people and everything. And it's in a generalized society. Now you take those in Asia into the Buddhist areas. They're different. They're similar, but they have differences. In Lokapalas, they're normally uniformed and this and that in a spiritual sort of way. But whenever it comes to Dharmapalas, we are people who have our own individual magics, our own armor, weapons, our own thought process. And we can be very protective, if not overbearing in various different ways. But the thing is, in a general sense, those people who are loyal to us, we can be ridiculously loyal to those. We can be ridiculously loyal to others. And so with me, I get anybody who calls me a warlock. I get it completely. But I'm not, because I never made a pact with either light or the dark. But whenever it comes to protecting, whenever it comes to protecting others, that's how we are. But then there's the other shade of it that gets a little deeper. Whenever we meet the person, whenever it comes to the person, the individual, and it's oftentimes people that we love or in love with them in some sort of way, or we care deeply about them, that's whenever the Dharmapala part really kicks in, because we're about that person. We are hugely about that person, that individual, and we will do what it takes to protect that individual through thick and thin. And like I said, Dharmapalas, as compared to Lokapalas, Dharmapalas are people that are individual. They're very individual in various different ways. And Dharmapalas can protect those that are of light, and they can protect those that are of darkness, and those that are gray. And so I'm no witch. I can do certain things, but I'm no witch. I'm no warlock, but I can do some of those things. But some things I can stick to, some things I can't. There are certain things I've been able to do, other things I can't. But at the end of the day, whenever I meet that person, hopefully it's a woman, that I dedicate my life to in the way of protecting them, that's whenever everything changes. I'm about her. I am about what she needs. I'm about whether it's protecting her life or getting her a cup of coffee or getting her a cup of tea. Whether it's like if she had a tough day at work, I rub her feet or something like that. And so whenever all that happens, that's how it is. And like I said, I'm divorced. I wasn't the perfect husband. I wasn't a perfect husband. I'm not by any means, but I did what I could. And the person that I was married to is an amazing, wonderful person. And now we're good friends. We're damn good friends. And they've been there for me and I've been there for them. But as a couple, it was never meant to be. But if I do find her in this life, then I'm sticking to her like glue. And my life would be dedicated to her and protecting her in any sort of way, shape, form, and fashion. And that's what I am.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you need to do, Samuel? Anything else you got to talk about?
I'm practicing I'm trying to do some training. There is a trip that I want to take in a part of the country called Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia, Pennsylvania, what me and a friend want to do is go up north into Pennsylvania, and it's an abandoned town. And if anybody, I don't know if anybody will know this, I don't expect it, and I would love them to know, but they don't. Maybe they don't. But it is a place that was inspired the Silent Hill video games and also the Silent Hill movies. a bad coal fire happened and they couldn't put it out and this and that. It destroyed the town. They had to abandon it. Noxious gas everywhere. People's lives were destroyed, just completely destroyed. And now it's considered an unincorporated place in Pennsylvania. They've even, like if you go on certain paths there, you can find bones on the ground like there's no big deal. And whether it's an animal or this or that, there's been a lot of bad stuff happen to there. And that's one thing I do want to see. Me and a good friend are wanting to go there. And that place, some of it looks cool as anything, some of it doesn't. I mean, I've seen video online where somebody cracks open an egg and it starts frying on the ground. And it starts frying on the ground over there. Then I've seen parts of it where it looks like no big deal and this and that. The one thing, there are two parts that I do know of that are kept up. One is the graveyard, and the other one is a church, but the church is closed. But if you go to the graveyard, it's a beautiful graveyard, and I do want to see it and everything. And like I said, I don't know how the people are. We're going to give them respect, but that's how it goes. Now, me and my friend, we want to do that. And then there's something else we want to do. We're trying to do some stuff that would help everyone. Would help everyone on a universal case. I'm trying to develop my talents on electronic equipment. I can summon things here and there. I can do that, but I want to catch those things electronically. So but whenever we go over, but I'm getting to a point with this. With all that, going to Centralia, Pennsylvania, we do bug out bags. The reason why we do bug out bags is in case die-hard survival. Die-hard survival, such as going up north, and with those bug out bags, we have certain contents in those bags. So like a solar-powered radio, a small tiny stove in case we have to cook something or start a fire. Then we also have hygiene in those bags, food that is freeze-dried, so you just add water and you've got a meal, and a few other things, even prepackaged water. And so the reason why we do that is because we're trying to help people in the best way we can, especially in those kind of environments. And so whether you are, whether you are an investigator or this or that, and you go into certain harsh climates, and every investigator is going to have some electronic equipment, but what if you get trapped out there and you got to wait until daybreak to go get there? You're going to need supplies. And that's what those bug out bags do, is give supplies to those people who are facing those hard conditions, investigating certain sites. And even if you were just wanting to go for an adventure, a bug out bag can save you in that sort of way. And that's what me and my friend are wanting to do. And so, and like I said, you can also, with the bug out bags, you can adapt it to urban situations. So like if you take a look at Detroit, and there's a lot of abandoned buildings and this and that, and it's kind of harsh environment, you can take a look at it and have a bug out bag specifically made for that. You can go to the mountains, have a bug out bag for that. Sometimes a swamp. Even sometimes a swamp type environment, you can go into that. And with those bags, especially for investigators, they can save their life. Or even if you just want to go have an adventure with yourself, that can save your life too. But back to the original issue on angels, I need to be learning more from you, Sherry.
Yes, and there, I've got some good bits here and things like that, that you could learn from and stuff. I've got some amazing books, and obviously I know bits as well.
Yes.
Is there a Pacific angel that anybody wants to know about in the room? because I've got in this book you have your angels, you have your archangels, your angels, you have your let me tell you what you've got in here. You've got your angels, your archangels, you've got your saints, and you have got your ascended masters, spirits, guides, and master teachers. Okay, they're all associated to be in some sort of angel form, but they are just got different names because they signify different elements of religion. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the angels that you guys might want to know. I'll give you a little bit more detail on them, what they work for, what they do, how they help you, you know, what the significance of them means, because this book tells you that. I like to be able to educate you fully instead of just partly. So I know that a lot of us have Archangel Michael that we call upon, don't we? So Archangel Michael is associated with the faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay, but he can associate to any person of any religion if you really need him. Michael will help you with loving yourself, have the courages of your convictions, find your life's purpose, improves all of your relationships, finds a career that makes your heart sing, and live your life fully and passionately. In devotion, the colours usually associated with Archangel Michael are green and red. He is very easygoing, so you don't really have to do anything special to call upon him, other than to ask for his help. Michael usually has a sword that he uses to cut through any resistance, so you can write your request on a piece of paper, then imagine his sword and tear the letter into pieces, small pieces. Knowing he has heard your prayers, you can burn the pieces and then throw them away. Archangel Michael is referred to as the greatest of all angels. His name signifies he who is like God. He is a perfect manifestation of God's mercy and was put in charge of nature, including the rain, snow, wind, thunder, lightning, clouds. Michael is the archangel of protection and the patron saint of policemen. He sacrifices patience, lends courage, helps with career admissions, and provides motivation to help you establish all of life's tasks. As soon as you invite Michael into your life, you feel his love and protection. Michael is often pictured holding a sword, which represents courage and his ability to conquer or overcome any obstacle. With the sword, he will gladly remove any problems in your path. So call upon him when you feel challenged or stemmed. He is enthusiastic and full of energy and will radiantly take up any task set before him. It is said that Archangel Michael was to Moses at the fire in the burning bush and rescued Daniel from the lion den and informed Mary of approaching death. Both Gabriel and Michael visited the prophet Muhammad to teach him of peace. Michael is God's messenger of love, hope, peace, joy, wisdom, and grace. He loves to help anyone who reaches out to him. He helps people to overcome their hopelessness and to easily manifest their deepest dreams. That is what Michael does.
Definitely.
And again, like I said, he is associated with the religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But he can be associated with anybody that is needing his guidance and his help. Any other ones you would like? We have got Azrael. We have got Yudel, Raguel.
I think I was saying that one. That was a little tough for me.
What, Raguel?
Yes.
Okay,
Tell me
let's
that
do
one.
Raguel then. Associated faiths is Judaism and Islam. Raguel will help you create balance, smooths out disagreements, exposes and corrects corruption, resolves deep-seated issues, and discovers your life's work. Raguel loves the flowers of spring because they represent the infinite possibilities of each moment. When you want Raguel's loving guidance and support, put a few of your favourite flowers in a beautiful vase next to a white candle, light the candle and ask for his assistance. Then allow yourself to become quiet and to listen for his gentle guidance. Archangel Raguel is the angel of justice, balance, fairness, and harmony. His name means friend of God. He has the task of making sure angels are doing their jobs properly and are taking loving care of mortals. Raguel is described in the book of Enoch as the angel of charge and numendaries, since he brings other angels to task for unangelic behavior. In some texts, he is referred to as a demon. In fact, his concerns for justice, balance, and harmony precludes his being of force of evil. As a member of the Order of Principalities, Raguel is responsible for helping nations work together harmoniously. If you support corruption in your loyal government, call upon if you suspect corruption in your local government, call upon Raguel and he will help restore balance, making sure fairness and harmony prevails. Raguel is also known as the Dominion over ice and snow, so it is useful to call upon him if you are having problems with a winter storm. Raguel is a loving angel dedicated to manifesting the divine, so he works closely with the beloved deities who are in charge of this magnificent universe. He will gladly help you to get in touch with your highest purpose and ally yourself with the expensive vista of your possible futures. If you ask for his assistance, he will guide you towards the path that will bring you to the greatest happiness and joy.
Nice.
Hello, pups.
Hello, sir.
Then you've got Raphael, you've got Gabriel, you've got Serel, Remel, Ariel,
Mm-hmm.
Josephel, Hanel, Zadkiel,
Ezekiel.
Jeremel, and Raphael.
Nice. That. Damn, that's pretty damn good.
Zerchiel, Urel, Cereal, Minuel, Gadel. It's got every single one that you could think of. Elm, Holmes, Ministering Angels have even got their names in here. Amuel, Joel, Barkel, Camel, Gambelel, Pasagaya, Mural, Guardian Angels, Layla, Thiel, Bath Cole, Gazdel, Cabashel, Zatrel, Matrion,
Someone put a lot of work into that.
Rachmel, Demel, Israel, Hasmel, Judithan, Razzle, Hadronel, Pathel. Then you've got the saints, brother Andrew, Nicholas, Christopher.
There's always a Nick that's a saint.
Agnes of Assis, Margaret of Antioch, Alexis, Katri Kekwika, Bernadette, Padre Pio, Francis of Assis, Anna, Gregory the Wonder Worker,
Nice. That's one hell of a title.
Columba, Ambrose, John of the Cross, Cecilia, Anthony of Padua. Like that, there's some
The illustrations are top notch. I like that.
They're all angels, archangels, saints.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're all associated in the same sort of thing. They're all just different titles, aren't they? So you've got some very important ones, and then obviously, like I said, at the back we've got the actual spiritual guides and stuff that are known to the spiritual world and to many people as well. So you've got your own spiritual guides that give their own names, their own way, but you've got the ones that are signed to the world by God. You know what I mean? So anything you want spiritually wise, this is the book.
Well, I definitely.
Their names are very, very hard to pronounce, and because I am dyslexic, I say it how I hear it. And they've got used to me saying it like that because of my dyslexia. They accept me to be like that. But if I was to speak to someone or give someone advice, I would read out the actual spelling of the name so that they know, so that they can read it themselves. You know what I mean? But their names are very difficult to read. They're not.
I'm not dyslexic, and I'm not giving enough credit towards people like you on how well you're doing on that. I can barely even do that. Like some of the stuff that you might get interested in is the way I do
card. That name, right? How can you say that right? To me, that says Percunus. Yeah, that's what it sounds. Percunus or something. But look at the way that the names.
Percunus. Percunus.
They are very unusual names. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not normal.
Yeah, that's Percuna. Yeah, those are Percunus. That's a. It took me. That's.
But I say it how I hear it because
that's what I'm saying.
There's certain things are left out.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving you credit.
Is that Kawon Ying? Kawon Ying. She's Chinese. There's so many.
Either it's Kuan Yin or a Kuan Yin. I would say Kuan Yin for
Kuan Yin, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like we know them in different names and different ways, don't we? But there are each energy to each religion, okay, that they're all beneficial to. Like obviously for her, she is Indian and Asian. But if there was something, you could be in her country, something could happen, you would call upon her. So it is good to know each religion and each religion's angels and masters and whatever else, because you never know when you're going to need them, and they are there to help everybody.
Yes, definitely. Like especially if you want to go for a universal god or deity, a big one would be Apollo. Apollo.
I've got Apollo in it. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find him.
Okay.
Here we go. Look, he's here. Look. Apollo.
Yes, I mean that's a universal god of universal gods, and
he's
so with
Greek.
And Roman too.
Yeah, well, it's just got Greek here. substantially enhances your creativity, brings passion to everything you do, sees the world from an expensive perspective, and increases your physic abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Apollo loves working with humans, so simply call upon him. Raphael leaves have a wonderful scent and are useful for preserving food. Gather some and sprinkle them around your bed. The aroma will help you feel the presence of Apollo as you sleep. He is an elegant god who steers the creative heart and passions. Pay attention to your dreams and make note of the messages Apollo brings to you. Okay.
Of course.
Apollo is the god of prophecy, a patron to musicians and poets. He is also the leader of the Muses. He is often shown holding a lyre of Kitra, which are symbolic of the sound that brought forth the universe. He wields the energy of creation. Apollo has dominion over healing, light, medicine, poetry, the intellect, dance, prophecy, shamans, and all forms of creativity, besides the oracles in Depli. He had other noble ones in Clarus and Branchadi. Whoa. Those who want to invoke the guidance of Apollo often use the the laurel leaf, which is Laurel leaf. Animals that were considered secret attributes of him are the wolf, the swan, the hawk, the raven, the crow, the snake, mouse, and grasshoppers, and the mythical griffin, a mixture of eagle and the lion. The swan, the grasshopper, and are symbolic of music and song, while the hawk, raven, crow, and the snake are most useful when aligning with divination. Apollo is believed to have control over plagues, so he was often called upon during epidemics. Wow, we could actually call him for this thing, maybe.
Well, I was telling you that.
At a profound level, Apollo represents harmony and balance, order and reason. He has a deep love for humans in the
Capacity.
capacity of muse. He will inspire you to live a life that is in alignment with your highest purpose. Apollo will help you to cut through the illusionary nature of reality and to connect with the reality that is rich and rewarding.
That's why I was saying that.
He's a very, very strong character, he is, and there are several of these energies that could help you with the healing of the earth, but Apollo is most definitely one of the most sought after ones for that.
Yep.
He's very, very powerful.
Yeah, that's
He's
one.
Greek, like you said, he's Greek, and he's also known in the Roman faith as well. Okay, but here it's just got it specific down to Greek because that is his main area of work.
But you remember the story about
wise and stuff, yeah.
Do you remember hearing about Alexander the Great in Macedonia and everything?
Yeah.
To some degree, he brought the existence of Apollo over to India and other Asian type countries over there. So the thing is that they're not going to say exactly his name, but they're going to have, there's always, depending on where you're at, geography wise, they can always have a certain amount of mention to him on that sort of thing. So the thing is that if, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you want if you want to need help settling your own problems and this and that, from sickness to health and this and that, and he even does some amount of luck, Apollo's your guy. Apollo is your god that will help you on that sort of issue. Whether he's considered a saint, whether he's considered a god, Apollo, when you call upon him, he's not going to act like a jerk or something like that. He goes, okay, what you need? If I can help you, I will. And that's his attitude.
Yeah, and he is very giving to humans. Mm-hmm. He does love human beings and stuff, and he works to make sure that our life is as easy as possible and that we're fulfilling life in the right way.
Yes.
And like I said to you, even though he's associated with one sort of religion, he's associated to any person in this world. Anyone can call up on him as long as they've got the respect and the love for him and what he does. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can call up on any angel, any archangel, any saint, anything that you want if you need them. You've just got to make sure that you do it the right way. With some of them, you do have to put out offerings and you do have to put things out that associate with them because it's a way to communicate and connect with them closer. Okay, some of them you don't. Like, you don't need to really put things out for things like Michael, but I do. I will put out a food source and a drink and things like that because it shows respect. You know what I mean? They work very hard with us every day and to make sure we have the lives that we've got. Yeah, lives may not always go the way that we want them, but believe me, they do work at the best to try and put things right. Okay.
And that's it. And that's the thing. Working with certain deities, gods, angels, depending. Now, this, I don't know if you're going to get upset over this, but even certain demons and everything. Like if you go to Asia, especially Japan, not all demons are bad. And some of them,
and that's the same over here. We've got demons and stuff that we work with here that are not negative. There are good and bad in everything. Okay.
Yes, so, and but there are some over there that that are like that. Well, I got to get going, Sherry. I really thank you for this time, and I loved every freaking bit of it.
Yeah, and we loved every freaking bit of it as well, Samuel. You've done most of the work. I just done the little bit at the end, but we hope that we educated you guys. We hope that you enjoyed the stream. We hope that you enjoyed to hear a little bit more about angels and saints. I will do a more detailed stream where I will talk about a number of these energies and read out the stuff about them, and you guys can write the information down if you want it. You know, it's really good to have that sort of stuff around you, especially to do with angels and saints and stuff, because you need them every day, to be honest. And I'll do you the educational side of it as well, like where they came from.
Well, I'm going to be doing something different in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing demons and the hierarchy of demons and everything to get that sort of thing. So, I'm kind of excited for that, to see how that goes and see how it's accepted. And hopefully there's debate, not argument, but debate. And I love debating, and we'll see how it goes on that issue and everything. And I look forward to that. And I'll show you some of the stuff that I'll show you, Sherry, on some of the stuff I've been working on. And I want to get your honest opinion. No matter what you say, I want your honest opinion, what I'll be showing you.
Yep, that's fine. And I've got no problem with doing that. But we do hope that you've enjoyed the stream, guys. We hope that you've enjoyed learning about angels and hearing about them. They are very interesting beings to be around. And, you know, if you don't have one in your life at the minute, they are there. They're with us all. Start talking to them. Start believing in them and things, because they help you in a very large way. Okay. And you would benefit a lot with having them in your life. That's all I can say to you. So from me, from Samuel, again, thank you for doing this amazing stream and for entertaining the family. My angels in the room, thank you for being there and supporting me, supporting Samuel and our company. We very much appreciate all of the love and respect that we get. Samuel, would you like to say anything quickly to the guys before you leave?
Well, it's been an honor talking to you guys, and I appreciate everybody that's joined in. If you liked what you saw, just give a thumbs up on it, and we'll see you later on. Take care, folks.
And from me, love, light, and blessings. Remember that when you go to sleep, those spirits creep, and they're always around you. And we will see you real soon. So I'm just going to play out the video bit now, guys, so that you've got it. No, not yet. Oh. Excuse me a minute, guys. So, love and light to you, angels. Thank you for being here and for being with us. Lots of love and light, and we will see you very, very soon. And a good night from us, and we hope that you enjoyed the night. This is PWIRD, and we will see you very, very soon. Good night, guys. Love and light, sweethearts. See you very, very soon. Yep. We will talk another day. Music Mansion. It's good to see you in here. So I will get another stream set up, guys, but I'll talk to you very soon. Good night. Blessed be. See ya, see ya.